Following up the well-known is the barely known. So how about I set the mood with a quick tale? In the far future of, a scientist discovered an unusual energy source buried underneath the Earth's surface. Upon studying it, he found that it was practically alive and had the capacity to absorb any living creature into itself, destroying whatever else would remain. That same scientist managed to contain this living energy and reshape it using the DNA of animals, creating a new life form that's power would be unmatched by modern creatures or technology. The scientist believed he could harness the power for the betterment of humanity, when really all his actions did was make it that much easier to be exploited by those he once trusted. Realizing his mistake far too late, the scientist disappeared from the public eye and dedicated himself to fixing an issue he caused, as well as prevent a catastrophe millions of years in the making. This story is not that of the scientist. Instead, it belongs to a boy who searches for his father and the answers to the mystery surrounding him. All coming down to a choice he must make for himself, and those he cares for.
I couldn't care less about all of that.
Let's just get to the analysis.
Is it a little strange, Chase? We've been in town for 5 minutes and everyone knows your name.
I guess my fame precedes me, followed by trouble.
During my previous video I mentioned how Phil's true nature would be obvious if you've seen a plotline like this before. Well, that's not an issue for this episode.
So, which category do we put those two in? Crazy, weird, or downright evil?
Still, this formula isn't written in stone and can be handled in multiple clever ways. For instance, seeing how Chase will react to learning that his father worked closely with someone so intensely unsettling.
At least part of the man's story has been validated.
Can we discuss it over some grub? I'm starving.
Hey, just trying to break the tension.
Oh, well, it does make sense for his character to not be suspicious of his dad, but his friends are normally on the more cautious side. Which is why, Chase's dad working with Clips is never brought up in a negative light. I don't even mean them directly accusing Chase's dad of having questionable morals. Them even questioning what else his father could be hiding would have been just as good. Even if they felt that was too far given how loyal his friends are shown to be, they still could have shown recordings of his interaction with Clips to give the audience a reason to start to second guess his dad. So, the audience are told within his first appearance that Clips can't be trusted, and none of the main characters question if his association with Chase's dad says anything about the latter's own moral compass. And Chase doesn't have any emotional turmoil over having to fight Clips thanks to it being the first time they have officially met. The closest is him saying this.
Okay, bad news is, I just made a deal with the devil. Good news is, it's one we're all gonna enjoy.
When it comes to working with Clips, only to later say this.
This is wrong! Wrong!
Thank you, Daddy Obvious.
This means Clips working directly with Chase's dad just serves as a functional choice. An easy way to justify his knowledge on monsunos being nearly unrivaled. It works fine for the series as a whole, but doesn't really benefit the formula this episode is using. It no longer serves as a story about how people can outgrow the relationships that used to cherish, and instead focuses on the notion that people having the same interest doesn't always mean they have a person's best interest. This also isn't helped by the fact that this episode is arguably more about the introduction of a new main character, Dax, than it is Chase's uneasy alliance with Clips. Even if a viewer still saw this more as a Clips episode, his relationship with Chase's dad is borderline non-existent. Which pretty much completely undermines the purpose of this formula. I didn't think I would be saying this so soon, but Monsuno fails in this area.
You better sleep with one eye open, because I'm coming for you, and revenge is going to be sweet. And that goes double for you. If you must know, I won this thing off a crazy old man. He came around here a couple of weeks ago, babbling something about monsters and the fate of the world.
Chase, that sounds like your dad. I mean, apart from the old thing and the crazy bit.
As mentioned in my prologue, Chase starts of his journey looking for his father, and Clips attempts to connect with Chase on that level by stating he wants the same thing. The show also tries using a bit of dramatic irony as Dax and Clips pretty much introduce themselves in completely different ways, yet who Chase puts his trust in isn't the one who wanted to gain it. This isn't commonly done with this trope, but still has a handful of examples. What is more unique to the show is that Clips was aware of Chase's existence long before Chase knew of his, yet the way that's shown ties back to how the series makes virtually no attempt to hide Clips's true nature. It could also be argued that Chase and his friends are desperate for trustworthy allies plays into him being so willing to initially take up Clips' offer to help him. At the same time, this isn't the first instance of someone pretending they care about Chase and his family, so him being in any way surprised at Clips being ruthless and self-serving makes even less sense. This all comes down to the series getting a tepid pass in this area.
Big surprise there.
I'm glad I'll never have to see that guy again for as long as I live.
Then you will not live long, because we shall see him again.
We must. For he is the fifth member we have been searching for.
Him?
This episode both introduces a new major antagonist and a new main character, so it wouldn't really be a smart move to skip over it when watching the series. In terms of the overall plot, there really isn't any progress made, yet that's not something exclusive to this episode, so I can't fault it in that regard. A feature I couldn't really discuss in the previous sections was how this episode also plays into the spiritualistic side of this show by having one character receive fragmented visions of how this specific concept is likely to end. Doing this also furthers the narrative conflict of predetermination versus immediate preparation. With all that being said, it is getting an excited pass in this area.
You guys really are that good. I always thought it was just me, making you look good.
On to the next series, which has the most difficult to discuss implementation of this formula.